Okay, this has been one of the weirdest videos I've ever seen in my entire life. It has to do with Bill Gates, Elon Musk, shorting Tesla. I'm going to play the video, and then we're going to get into our analysis. Here we go. So 1 minute 30 clip. I'll see you on the other side.
So this is a telephone emoji. So let's discover basically what's behind. So it's a text message discussion between you and Elon Musk, so the owner of Tesla and recently Twitter. The screenshots were leaked on Twitter, and Elon Musk a few days ago, as you know, confirmed this discussion happened. So in this chat, Elon Musk said that he can't work with you on philanthropic projects because you were shorting on Tesla, basically trying to make profit with the fall of Tesla's stock price. And Elon Musk sees this as contradictory to the desire to fight climate change. As he says, you should support Tesla's electric development. First of all, do you think he's right? And then, most importantly, how do you handle the fact as a billionaire, you might want to fight for causes, whatever they are, like climate change, but at the same time, you might want to make your money grow through investments?
Well, Tesla's not short of capital, and Tesla's done a fantastic job. The cars are great. I give a lot more money to climate change than Elon or anyone else. I give lots of philanthropic dollars. I back companies. You know, electric cars are about 16% of emissions, so we also need to solve that other 84%. But, you know, he's done a great job. But somebody shorting his stock doesn't slow him down or hurt him in any way.
All right. We've got, so first of all, leave it in the comments. What do you think? What do you think about Elon or Bill Gates saying that? I'm just curious. I'm curious to see what you think about that situation and what he said. Because, oh boy, was that a spicy situation. All right, let's dive into this. A couple things. Number one, he fully acknowledges that conversation, that text messaging, that's real. So him and Elon have been talking about, climate change and shorting Tesla stock, all that stuff. So it's like, okay, we know that's real. That's happening. Okay, number two, he says, look, electric vehicles are only 16% of greenhouse gas emissions. So there's a lot of stuff happening when it comes to greenhouse gas emissions and climate change, and 16% of it is electric vehicles. There's another 84% that we need to solve. The way he said this was almost very condescending. It's like, well, there's 84% of stuff we actually have to solve. Elon's not saving the world. And this right here is telling. Now, the reason he says this is for two reasons. Number one, he says this because he's contributing to a lot of those other causes outside of the 16% of electric vehicles, right? And Elon and Bill Gates, to his credit, is doing a lot of stuff for climate change outside of just electric vehicles. So he's trying to say, like I'm not a bad guy for shorting the stock. I'm actually helping the world because there's other things that we have to focus on outside of Tesla. So we're focusing on that type of stuff. Number two is he's trying to say Elon's not really a savior, right? Everyone is positioning Elon as the savior of the world because like he's focusing on electric cars and electric vehicles and all this stuff. But his argument is like, well, if there's other stuff that exists that, by the way, I'm helping, then electric cars are not the only thing in the world. Elon's not saving the entire world. He's trying to like fight back against that narrative. Now, there's a couple of points that I want to talk about before we even get into the shorting of the stock discussion. Number one of the reasons why Elon is revered, why Elon is impressive, why Elon's been able to do such an important thing is because the way you solve really, really big problems that exist in the world, things like climate change, is you have to set precedents. Precedents mean one company does something that allows other companies to do stuff. The entire world needs to go to electric vehicles at one point for us to get rid of the 16% of emissions, which would be a phenomenal thing if we can do that probably over the next 20 years. I don't see that happening in the next decade. But in the next 20 years, if we all go electric, that only happens if we normalize electric vehicles. How do you normalize something? The entire world has to care about it. How do people normalize wearing masks during COVID? Everyone started wearing masks. Now, I know some people didn't wear masks, whatever, but like the point is you got people to wear masks because they felt like, oh, everyone is wearing it, so like we should probably follow some of these guidelines, whether that, whatever your political thoughts are on that or whatever. That's sort of the example I'm using that here. Now, in the context of Elon Musk and electric vehicles, you need a leader. You need people to feel inspired. You need people to go against a mission. You need people to feel like, oh my goodness, if we actually did transition the world into sustainable energy, how much better would that be for the planet? There's two ways you get that done. Number one, you have the charismatic leader that is able to get the world to care. Elon Musk, check. Number two, you actually have to have the product. You actually have to have the company. You have to actually have a company that is able to do the thing that they said they were going to do, which is create sustainable electric vehicles that are also affordable. And Tesla has done that. And that sets a precedent. And the precedent is incredibly important because if you don't set the precedent, other things don't happen. Well, what has Tesla done by normalizing electric vehicles? GM, Ford, Stellantis, all these companies, they have started investing heavily into electric vehicles. Porsche, you have newcomers like Lucid and just like all these other Electromania. There's all these different companies that are there. There's literally just a conference in California about all these electric vehicles. I saw that because Freelance Finance, shout out to that channel, they uploaded a video of them going to that conference. There's so many more electric vehicle startups. Not all of them are going to succeed, but a lot of them are trying to solve the issue. And that means more consumer choice, more competition, less costs, more normalization of electric vehicles. That sets the precedent because one day, let's say 2030, Tesla's phenomenally successful. Well, what if they try to do electric planes? People didn't think electric cars could happen. What if an electric plane could happen? What if they start electrifying all the other things they use it? What if we have electric ships? Like there's just, the possibilities are endless for Tesla to become one of the biggest companies in the world that sets the precedent for actually transitioning us to sustainable energy. But that only happens, it only happens if Elon is able to do what he wants to do, if you have a leader and a company that's able to get these things resolved. And when you do that, you solve way more than 16% of just carbon emissions, because now you've actually created a movement, which I would argue is incredibly more important than just getting rid of of ICE vehicles, internal combustion engine vehicles. You need to get a movement, you need to get people to care, you need to get their attention galvanized around this issue. Tesla is doing that, which goes to the second point around Bill Gates' argument that shorting the stock doesn't slow down Tesla. Yes, it does. Now, the argument that Bill Gates is making here is that like if Tesla has enough capital, they don't need, more capital to be able to do these things. The problem here is he misconstrues the argument around what it means to short a stock. And when you short a stock, at the end of the day, you're betting that that company is going to do worse. Right? Like there's two ways to short a stock. From an activist perspective, this is more the Bill Ackman type of shorting of the stock. Like you want the company to go down, Carl Icahn type of stuff. So you're going to short it. You're going to put a lot of selling pressure on the stock, and you're going to try to get the world to believe it's a bad company. You want them to go out of business, and you're going to profit on the upside as they go out of business, because you should profit from a company going out of business because the company's a bad business. Or there's the economical version of shorting a stock where you're like, look, Tesla's overvalued. $1 trillion is way too much for this company. It does not deserve to be $1 trillion market cap. I'm going to short the stock because I believe that it deserves to go down. And as a result of it going down, then I'm going to be able to profit on the upside because I'm making a speculative bet around the economics of the actual business, which is fine. It's not like shorting a stock should be illegal. Like it's part of the market dynamics. It's part of the free market. Like you should be able to buy long options and sell short-term put options. Like you should be able to go long and short a stock because there has to be a winner and loser. And if you're in the market long enough, hopefully you win more than you lose as you learn more about the market. Like myself, I'm trying to learn more about the market and I've lost a lot. I'm trying to win a lot more, and it takes time to understand how the market operates. But there has to be a winner and a loser. Someone has to hold the bag. Someone has to take the bag all the way to the bank. It happens both ways. So when Bill Gates says shorting Tesla does not slow Elon down, I feel that is incorrect, because even if you feel like the company is overvalued and you're making a speculative bet on how the company's valuation will happen, you want this company. If in the plethora of companies that are overvalued, you want a company like Tesla to be overvalued. You want a company like Tesla doing well. You want the world's richest man to be someone that's actually solving, like you don't want the world's richest man to be the second guy, Bernard Aldevort or whatever, who's like buying designer brands. Or like making, like, is making designer brands worthy of being the world's richest man in the world? No one, like, it's like, who cares about that? But stopping stopping carbon emissions and making electric vehicles, that's obviously a pretty big deal. And you want the world's richest man to do that. So when you're putting selling pressure on the stock, you're making the stock go down. It's worse for everybody. Like it's not good for Tesla. Tesla cannot survive in a bear market. So if you're pushing the stock to go down, and you're pushing the company to not have as much firepower, not as much momentum, not as much capital to be able to do the things they need to do, a higher share price means they have more capital to actually be able to execute some of their missions. You want people to feel less morale about the stock. You want people to feel that the stock is not strong. You want people to feel that all other competitors can eat their lunch, even though those competitors are doing nothing in the context of what Tesla is doing. When you short the stock and you're saying it's not slowing Elon down, yes, it is. Because if you're shorting the stock and other people are like, well, Bill Gates is shorting, I should be shorting, and you just get a massive attack of shorts, which Tesla was one of the most shorted companies for years before they finally broke out, that's bad for Tesla. That's not good, especially in a bear market. That's really bad for Tesla. So in my opinion, when he says this, it feels disingenuous because he's supposed to be stopping climate change. He's supposed to be one of the world's richest men. I'm talking about Bill Gates, that is supposed to care about these causes. And if you're supposed to care about these causes, but you also want to make money off your investments, it begs the question, can't you not make money off this investment? Can't you go make money somewhere? Can't you let Elon be, can't you let Tesla be Tesla? Can't you let them actually go do something legendary? Or does the analytical portion of your brain have to short them because you feel they're so overvalued, which ultimately stops Tesla from becoming the precedent setting company that I talked about to transition the entire world into more electrified goods and services and forms of transportation. I think that's an important thing to happen. I think that needs to happen at the end of the day. And I think with Bill Gates shorting Tesla or saying that shorting Tesla doesn't matter, it does delegitimize a lot of the credibility of some of the stuff he's going for, because it just feels bad. I just don't feel like I want to invest in Bill Gates or follow the stuff he's doing, because I'm like, you don't got to do that. I would rather he just forget saying it's slowing Elon down. Just be like, look, I think the Tesla's overvalued. I think they're doing a great job. I think they're going to be a great company, but they're overvalued. Just say that. Literally just say that. Just be like, look, they're a great company, but they're overvalued. Very simple. They are overvalued. And as a result of them being overvalued, I want to short the stock, because I think the stock will come down to a more reasonable valuation. I think they're going to be fine in the future, but they should not be $1 trillion market cap right now. If he had just said that, I would have had more respect for him. But for him to sugarcoat it and be like, well, shorting them is not slowing them down, and there's another 84% of things that we need to solve. Like, yeah, that 84% of things that are solved are by like world-changing companies that can actually galvanize the world's attention to change those things. They don't just happen through your nonprofits. And so I think Tesla ultimately sets the precedent for that. But let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with what Bill Gates is doing? Do you think shorting is just purely economical? Or do you think that, Elon has a point and that shorting Tesla cannot be synonymous with your goals of stopping climate change? Thank you guys for listening. Let me know what you think. I will see you in the next one.